Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Local News Late Edition. Muslims around the world observe Eid al-Adha today, one of the major celebrations in Islam. Jace Mackey has more on how COVID-19 restrictions impacted the holiday here in Lloydminster.
Temperature checks, masks, and physical distancing were all part of the new normal for members of Lloydminster's Ahmadiyya Muslim community as they celebrated Eid ul-Adha on Friday.
It was mandatory for them to wear the mask inside the building. And also we made sure that with the temperature check that they are not sick. And also if anyone had any symptoms, they were not allowed. Similarly, we requested the children and also the elders to stay home and offer Eid prayer at their homes.
Members were also asked to bring their own prayer mat. Those who weren't able to attend in person could watch a video sermon online. Hugging each other 3 times at the end of the prayers is tradition, but this year it was forbidden.
It was definitely a different experience because of COVID-19 with the social distancing protocol. The tradition is hugging, but it's not really the physical, right? It's the mental and the spiritual brotherhood and emotional bond that you get. So despite the protocol, I still felt the spirit that you usually should feel.
In a normal year, millions of Muslims would gather in Mecca, but this year it has been scaled down to only 1,000.
This is celebrated when millions of people gather in Mecca to perform the pilgrimage to commemorate the same sacrifice that was done by Prophet Abraham. Yeah. And this is why people gather in Mecca, in the same place where he actually left his child and his wife over there.
This celebration marks the first major event for the Ahmadiyya Muslim community since their mosque reopened after being closed due to public health measures. It was important for members to be able to gather and mark this occasion together.
We missed the Eid al-Fitr before, and that was like, it's just as if Christmas in Christianity, right? If you miss that, it's one of a big deal, but we are very grateful to God Almighty who has given this mosque so people can gather and have the same spirit of Eid and the festival.
Jace Mackey, Primetime Local News.
With this weekend being August long, keeping safe at beaches and in the water is a good thing to keep in mind, even when you're having fun. The MD of Bonnyville wants to remind their residents to stay safe this weekend.
I'm joined here with Michael Bolch, and he is the Director of Parks and Recreation for the MD of Bonnyville. Now, what does Bonnyville want to remind beachgoers for the long weekend?
We want them to remember that COVID is still increasing and to be safe. We want them to be safe and be aware of the COVID conditions.
And will there be peace officer or anything enforcing those rules?
Yes, we have all our staff will be working this weekend, all of them, between the hours of noon and 6 p.m. to make a presence to let people know that we are there. They will not be getting involved, but they will be alerting the bylaw enforcement officers, and the bylaw enforcement officers will be making a presence in all the beaches.
And if people are going and they see that the beach has a lot of people, you want them to have kind of backup activities planned for their days.
Yes, we have the three major beaches that we're worried about. We have quadrupled our signage so people understand, and we've allowed no parking unless you're a paid permit in the parking area, the camping area. Otherwise, day visitors must practice COVID rules.
And what are some tips you would have for people with water safety to try and avoid injuries and accidents this weekend?
Well, we found in the last week that we have a lot of overcrowding and people are playing in the water around boats and the boats are moving and some of the kids aren't being attended to. So we highly recommend that parents watch their children and keep them away from boats. We don't want a lot of people diving off of the docks. We don't actually want anybody playing on the docks around the boats. And that's what we're trying to achieve.
And if people are on their boats this weekend, what are some safety tips you have for them?
Well, bylaw enforcement will be working with the RCMP and Fish and Wildlife. No alcohol on the boats is allowed. And they will be looking at people practicing COVID rules. So, not too many people on the boats. The same thing within our campgrounds. No more than 6 people allowed in the same camping area, unless they're all family. So.
And in lakes across Alberta and even across Saskatchewan, we're seeing blue-green algae. So what are some tips that you would say, and what are some of the best ways to try and avoid that?
So blue-green algae is prevalent right now in Moose Lake. We're not expecting a lot of people to be swimming in our lakes at Moose Lake. Don't drink the water. Don't let your pets drink the water. It affects people differently, but it is poisonous to animals. The lakes, Crane Lake and Cold Lake and Mini Lake, currently have no blue-green algae, and they're totally safe. And you can even get the water in your mouth, so it's not bad. That's why we're expecting a lot of people there.
What would you say are your biggest tips for people to avoid heat stroke and heat exhaustion?
So the biggest thing, and the same thing we tell our employees, drink at least 250 milliliters of water every half an hour. Try to stay out of the sun, in the shade, and wear a hat. And as long as you're staying cool, that means water's evaporating from your body. So you have to drink, a bottle of water an hour just to keep the fluids up. But stay out of direct sunlight.
And is there anything else that you would like to add?
I want people to have a fantastic weekend and enjoy it. I'm going to be out working all weekend too, just to keep give support to my workers, who will be giving support to the caretakers, who will be giving support to the campers.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Michael.
No problem.
Now for this week's edition of What's Open, here's Heather Klages.
The Bioclean Aquatic Center here in Lloydminster is going to reopen on Tuesday. On Tuesday, you'll be able to go for lane swimming and also family swim as well, but you do need to pre-book your spot. You can pre-book right now, though, through the city's website, lloydminster.ca. You'll find all the information, and there are limited spots available for each time block. So make sure you pre-book that spot so that you can go for a dip at the pool on Tuesday. Also on Tuesday, the Service Sports Center, they're going to reopen the Robert B. Holmes Arena and the Leisure Ice as well. And if you want to make use of those facilities at the Service Sports Center, make sure you pre-book and get all the details on the city's website, lloydminster.ca. This could be the summer that you get a hole-in-one. A number of golf courses are happy to be reopened in our area, including the Lashburn Town and Country Golf Club, and they want you to join them for some golfing next month. They've got an August golfing special, Monday to Friday, 7 to noon, half-price golf, half-price cart, and a chance for you to win a $1,500 gift card for next season. And this is good for members and non-members as well. So give them a call, book your spot, and have fun out on the golf course. And if you're not quite ready to take on the 9 holes, why not try the mini golf here at Bud Miller Park? A great way to get started in the golf game. And if you're looking for some delicious food that you didn't get the chance to grow yourself this year, Spiro's Dining Room has reopened, so you can head over there and join them for a delicious meal. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
What's Open is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
We'll have more primetime local news after the break.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Welcome back. The Lloydminster Sport Riders placed a ghost bike in the city last night in honor of a young man who died in a motorcycle crash in June. Our Shelby Clark spoke with a member of the club for more details of how they showed their support in the community.
Joining us today is Philip Cummin, a member of the Lloydminster Sport Riders. How are you today?
I'm very well, and yourself?
I'm very good. So last night, the Sport Riders placed a ghost bike up north in the city to honor a man who died in a motorcycle crash in June. Can you explain more on everything you all did to show support?
Seeing how the young lad was a fairly new member to the group, he had actually touched a few of the members quite closely pretty quickly, which usually in the riding community happens quite often. So when we lose somebody, it becomes not just a tragic loss for the family, it also affects the community and the people that he rides with. So we decided to do something to help memorialize and honor his memory, plus help raise some awareness for the city of Lloydminster. And that's where the idea of the ghost bike come up.
And during the ride throughout the city, was residents showing lots of support?
Residents were very aware of it due to some media coverage that was already out there, but there was no ill effects. A lot of them come out that were in the area, they come out into their backyards and they stood and they kind of watched everything. A lot of people were quite in awe on the amount of bikes that showed up, and you know, just the support that was there to begin with. You know, gave everyone kind of a positive feeling, so they already were coming in with a positive attitude, and it was just met with more positivity because there was so much involvement.
And how did the idea for the ghost bike come up, and what is the bike all about?
Well, we'll start with the ghost bike on what it's all about. It's the idea behind the ghost bike is it's got two reasons behind it. One is to raise awareness for everyone that is still around, for them to realize that, hey, you know, there is motorbikes out there and something has happened that this bike has to be out there. It's not painted to blend in. It's actually painted to be against the background so that it stands out in your mind, and it gets people talking. So it helps raise awareness for motorcycle riders so that they can, you know, they understand that, hey, you know, maybe this might be an area that we need to watch because somebody was hurt or injured here. There is, you know, maybe it keeps them from acting out and doing their tomfoolery or whatever they're going to do in town. And, you know, there's places and there's companies out there that provide provisions for people to do stuff, i.e., if you go to Nisku, there's a racetrack there. You go to Calgary, there is a racetrack there as well, where guys can do track days and stuff like that. It also, with people in vehicles and cars, it gives them the options that they can see, hey, you know what, maybe we might need to pay attention a little bit more, because in a car, when you look and you see a bike coming down the road, your short-term memory is affected and you see the bike, but the moment that you turn, there's so much other things going on that it's easy to forget that the bike was coming. And there's been many accidents in the past where, you know, a person will look, they'll see a motorbike and then they'll still pull out in front of them because they totally forget that they're there. So the awareness part of it is just to help everyone realize that, hey, you know what, we all have to share the road. You know, it's everyone's life is on the line. Now, the memorial side of things, we like to have it close to kind of where the incident was, upon family approval. They make the final decision if it can or cannot be put in place. Either A, they don't want to see it there, or B, they're really supportive for it. In our case, we were lucky enough that the family was really supportive, and having all the bikes show up, it made it even better, because then they seen that them allowing that to happen, the you know, the support of the community was there, and it was overwhelming for them. So the ghost bike end of things gives people a memorial spot instead of, you know, going and standing at a curb or at a spot and, you know, there's nothing there. You know, you have a motorbike where you can actually go up, you can put your hand on the bike, you can actually physically move around the bike and see it, right? So it's something that's connected to the previous rider or to the fallen rider, and you know, gives people something to attach to. As for the idea of the ghost bike, with Lloydminster, we've seen a lot of things happen around Lloyd, and usually when motorbike accidents happen, whether it be a guy on a cruiser, a guy on a crotch rocket, or a guy on a dirt bike, or one of the little beginner bikes and whatnot, a lot of people point the finger and they're like, you know, hey, it's always the bike's fault, and it's not always the bike's fault. So with us trying to get the community to understand what's going on, we look towards the big city of Edmonton, right? Everyone always thinks of a bigger center, and we watched the ghost bikes up here in Edmonton, and there was quite a few to begin with, and then the awareness started coming up because the high incident areas is where these bikes always ended up, and the incidents started to drop there. So it kind of come to an idea that me and a bunch of fellow members, we decided, hey, you know what, maybe this is something we should take on, break the ground on this and see if we can get this to happen, and hopefully bring a positive result to our city that helps the whole community together. Plus, on top of that, at the end of the day, after the memorial is done, after we remove the memorial, we can still use the unit for motorcycle awareness, which comes in May.
And with the memorial as well, it also helped raise funds for Anthony's family.
One of our members, Sean Coles, organized and arranged a memorial ride, which we had done a couple of weeks prior while we were building this bike. He did the memorial ride where he raised some money for the family and presented it to the family. We had done kind of a poker run is what it was, but all the money that was won went right back into it and went right straight to the family, which was nice. It was a great gesture for them to, help with anything that they need and show that there is the support. Even though he was only with us for a little bit in our bike group, he made a positive impact. So we wanted to make sure that positive impact is circulated back around for them.
And how long will the bike be set up north? And is there plans to bring it back in the future to help bring more awareness?
We've discussed with the city of Lloydminster, and I kind of come down to the maximum of 1 month. After beyond 1 month, 3 weeks to 1 month, after that point in time, you end up finding that stuff becomes part of the scenery. You don't see it anymore. How many people know where all the park benches are in town? The moment you put a brand new park bench in town for people to sit on and whatnot, you'll see it, but then it just kind of fades into the background and you continue driving. So we figured 1 month was the ideal maximum to have the bike out, to put it out for the memorial and the awareness. And then, lo and behold, if we don't have to put it back out again for a memorial piece, I am so happy with that. But come May next year, during Motorcycle Awareness Month, we will bring it back out and put it back in place, kind of wherever we discuss with the city and find a suitable spot. It may end up in one spot. It may end up in a couple different spots and move around the city just to help, because not everyone's always on the east side of town or not always on the west side of town. Then that way everyone gets a chance to kind of see it and as they come through town.
Well, thank you so much for giving us your time today, and my condolences for the young man who passed away.
Yeah, there's just a couple things that I want to make sure that are done. Is we had some people that did offer donations. We had a member by the name of Chris Stoodley, which donated us the bike to build into the Ghost bike. We had Sean Coles, which helped do some finalization touches on the bike and build the flower placement on the bike. And then the flowers were donated by Flowers on the Fly by Odina here out of Lloydminster. And she made us some flowers, and they helped bring a final touch to the bike that, you can't even put words to. It's so hard to find words to it when you stand there and you look at the unit. So.
Welcome back. Last night, the Lloydminster Twins senior baseball team had their biggest win of this season against the Unity Cardinals. The Twins scored an NSRBL season-high 16 runs. Evan Kenny has more on the night of high-powered offense.
Well, last night was a great night, not only for the weather, but also for the baseball. The Twins got the bats going early, explosively going 8 for 9 in the first inning alone and scoring 5 batters. While the run support was unneeded, starting pitcher Steve Barber says it was huge for the team.
But yeah, no, it's pretty important for the team, obviously, for the guys that hit well as they did. So it's always nice to have the run support because I don't have to worry about shutting them down. As I can get a little wild like I did and walk a lot of batters and still we can still pull through. So
well, it's nice. It's huge. That's what we want to work on, is just getting on the sticks early and keep building off that every inning and get the bats going coming into playoffs here.
And just like the bats, Barber followed suit. Barber didn't give up a hit until the 3rd inning and not a run until the 4th. In the 4th, though, he did find himself in a bit of a pinch.
Yeah, I started strong and I sort of was tiring pretty quickly. So by the 3rd or 4th inning, those guys were putting up good at bats. Like, we had a lot of deep counts, so it was causing me to tire and gas pretty quick. But
the Twins' next game will also be their last. This upcoming Tuesday, the Twins will face off against the Border City Blue Jays in the battle on the border. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
This year's Canadian Beef Industry Conference is moving online, but organizers are working to use the change to their advantage. Eric Bay has more.
Accessibility is what next week's CBIC is trying to achieve, with their online format offered for free to any producer wishing to tune in.
We're excited to be offering it free to all producers and members of the industry this year. So we're hoping this will give everyone a chance to hear from different perspectives across the industry and still have a chance to connect.
Presenters will speak all 3 days of the conference, covering a variety of topics from cooking to the landscape of the beef industry today.
Dr. David Hughes, he's one of our keynotes, and he's better known as Dr. Food, and he gives a global perspective on the food industry. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He lets you know how things are going across the board. And then we also have Amanda Radke joining us. She's a South Dakota rancher and beef advocate who is going to take us more on the North American perspective.
By moving online, the CBIC expects a greater turnout than in past years and might even break an attendance record.
We're expecting to see big numbers this year just because this is a chance that people don't have to travel. They can do it at home. If they're in their tractor, they can listen in. So we're hoping this gives a chance for more of the industry to come together than ever before.
This year's conference will begin Tuesday, August 11th. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
Welcome back. We'll be taking a look at your 7-day forecast. Ahead of this long weekend, we will be seeing highs close to 30 degrees, Saturday at 26, where we will see a sunny day. Now on Sunday, we'll be at 27 degrees, but there is that chance that we will be seeing a little bit more cloud coverage, and that will continue on to Monday, but Monday is going to pick up to 29 degrees. On Tuesday, there is a chance we will be seeing a thunderstorm at 24, and throughout the rest of the week, we will be in that 24-25 degree range, but we will be seeing that mix of sun and cloud throughout the week.